What is up, guys? It's your boy Rick Kakis, and today we are going to be taking a look at the Hollow Denial Legendary Trace Rifle. This was added to Destiny 2 within Season of the Haunted. Now, this is a seasonal weapon, which means if you get 5 different Deepsight or red bordered versions of this weapon and complete them, you can then craft this weapon for yourself. And that's actually pretty exciting because this is only the second legendary trace rifle ever added to Destiny 2 and the first one that is craftable. So we're going to be talking about how to level it up fast and the best perks to pick on your crafted version to eventually answer the question, is it worth crafting? I mean, you can only pick one guaranteed red bordered weapon at the Crown of Sorrow each week. Is this the one you should be buying? Well, let's get started. But just before we do, guys, thanks to my partnership with Astro, I'm giving away a pair of Astro A40s with the mix amp. All you gotta do to enter is make sure you're subscribed, hit the notification bell, post on Facebook about how amazing this channel is, get 1,000 people to also subscribe. I was kidding. All you really gotta do, guys, is follow me on Twitter at RickKakis and tweet at me something with the hashtag Trace Kakis. And that's it, guys, and I'll pick the winner in a couple of days. Remember, you can use code KakisHD to save on any Astro and Logitech product. Alright, so for the Hollow Denial now. If you do craft it and you want to level it up fast, I would highly recommend crafting the initial version with Dragonfly, and then putting on Dragonfly Spec to increase its effectiveness. As you can see, if I kill just one guy, I get like 1% towards my weapon level, but then if I get a Dragonfly Explosion, it goes up multiple percentages. So that just means the kills you get with the Dragonfly Explosions will also count as Hollow Denial kills, letting you level up much easier. So, once you do reach a sufficient level, what perks are you looking to put on your Hollow Denial? Well, first of all, the fact that this is a Void Trace Rifle is very relevant this season. First of all, Trace Rifles are a featured anti-champion weapon. You can get Overload Trace Rifle rounds, and with Grandmasters coming up pretty soon on July 5th, this is absolutely something you should be looking forward to using in that content. Now, we've never had Trace Rifle Overload rounds before, so how good is it going to be in Grandmasters? We can't for sure answer that question, but honestly, it seems like it would be pretty good. Anytime you have a special weapon that has anti-champion capabilities, and we've seen this over and over again, anti-barrier sniper rifles, even overload glaives were used to some degree, so having trace rifles, I mean, people were running the Divinity, which is an exotic trace rifle that has built-in overload rounds throughout many Grandmasters for many seasons. So giving that capability to legendary trace rifles and then still letting you use an exotic is pretty darn powerful. Now, don't get me wrong, the Divinity has exotic abilities and stuns immediately. It has its own niche for sure, but again, I think this is actually a pretty viable thing to consider bringing into GMs. And I said the fact that this Void matters too, and it really does. Void got remade last season. Void 3.0 builds, especially Invisible Hunter, Bubble Titan, even, the Controverse Hold Warlock build are all still super powerful. And the Hollow Denial is able to slot into those builds pretty easily, using things like Font of Might to increase its damage for picking up a Void Elemental well, or the fragment that gives volatile rounds. The Hollow Denial, and you're going to be seeing this in the background gameplay, works really well with volatile rounds. It's like an SMG on steroids, basically, with way better range. So, with all that in mind, I am considering the Hollow Denial to be a bit more of a PvE-focused weapon. It's not necessarily capable of doing things that no other trace rifle can do in the Crucible. So, when looking at it from that perspective, and we're talking about the perks here, I think the first main perk is actually going to be Lead from Gold. Now, there is some consideration for adaptive munitions letting you deal with arc and solar shields, but lead from gold, in my opinion, is criminally underrated right now. It is a really, really good PvE perk, and here's why. Ever since Bungie increased the energy cost of scavenger mods, you're not able to run like a rocket launcher scavenger and a shotgun scavenger. You really just have to pick one, or else you're essentially using up all 10 of that armor piece's energy slots. So as a result, being able to use lead from gold lets you use one weapon finder and scavenger mod. So in this case, I'm using the Deathbringer as just a really good void heavy, and so I can run rocket launcher finder and scavenger and then still gain ammo for my trace rifle, which you really want to do because honestly you're going to end up using your trace rifle almost like a primary in a lot of circumstances, and they do chew through a lot of ammunition. So getting way more ammo for that weapon because of lead from gold, and then you can even put on enhanced lead from gold, which is going to gain you even more ammo for picking up a heavy brick. Like, that is pretty darn good. Then moving on to the second perk, I think there's a little bit more discussion. Dragonfly is good for lower level content. You have the new Repulsor Brace perk, which is going to give you a Void Overshield if you do just kill enemies with volatile rounds, which is pretty easy to do. Swashbuckler is a pretty easy damage increase you can get, but honestly, I ended up going with Killing Tally. This is actually a pretty new perk added this season. It only existed before on a single pinnacle weapon, but this is going to increase the damage of the weapon after a kill, just like Rampage, and it's 10% for the first kill, 20% for the second kill, 30% for the third kill, just like Rampage, but unlike Rampage, it doesn't go away until you stow or reload the weapon. Seriously, you can get a kill with Killing Tally on and then go and take a bathroom break, and when you come back, Killing Tally will still be on. So when you have a weapon like the Hollow Denial, which is capable of getting over 100 rounds in a magazine, it's pretty easy to get 3 kills in the initial part of the magazine and then get that 30% damage buff as you decimate many more enemies. Or it's also useful for dealing with more powerful enemies, and you're going to see this a lot in the background gameplay. You know, shoot a couple of red bars near a boss and then spend the next 80, 70 rounds that are doing 20% more damage on the boss, and that is very, very useful, whereas if you had something like Rampage, it would wear out halfway through that exchange. Now, enhanced Killing Tally is going to increase the magazine size a little bit, which is obviously great. You want the largest magazine size as possible because when you reload, you do lose the damage increase. And speaking of which, if you are going with Killing Tally, you do want to go with a magazine extending battery. So I ended up going with enhanced battery because, as you can see, even though ionized offers actually a larger magazine size increase, you only go from 102 to 104 rounds. So literally 2 bullets in a trace rifle. I didn't feel like it was worth, completely cutting my reload speed in half for 2 extra rounds. As for the other things I went with, I did go with small bore just for a range and stability increase. It's just generally right in the middle of everything you want. And then I did actually go with a range kind of masterwork just because I want to be capable of dealing with enemies from much further away, especially if I do plan on taking this into Grandmasters where you're fighting generally at much longer ranges. And remember, we do have one more perk that isn't shown on that crafting screen, and that's the origin trait Extrovert. Final blows while near multiple combatants or near nightmares restores health. That's great. So if you're getting rushed by enemies, you're surrounded, you get some kills, you get health back. That's exactly what you want in that scenario. So after crafting this role and using this weapon for a couple of days now, is it worth crafting? Well, in my opinion, yes. It may not be the first thing you should craft, that goes to the Callus mini tool, but it should be up there. The fact that this can, I think, be used in Grandmasters, the fact that it is void, so it synergizes with subclasses that already went through an upgrade. Like if it was Arc and we're still using the old Arc layouts, that would be a different story. So this thing has a lot going for it. And even if we're not talking Grandmasters, just using this in Nightmare containments and so on, I mean, you've seen from the background gameplay, this is phenomenal at dealing with large groups of ads. Honestly, it's like a primary on steroids, especially because Lead from Gold actually lets you use this like a primary because you're getting so much ammo for it. And so guys, that is it for the video. I hope you enjoyed and found this informative. If you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to see more Destiny 2 content similar to this, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. If you want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at RickCacus. That is linked in the description down below. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.